Okay, welcome everyone to the gentle class, the gentle yoga class. It might be gentle Mondays for some of you, it may be any day of the week. So welcome to the regular class and anybody who's new to this. So just a very brief reminder, so when you're following an online class, it's so easy to feel that you have to keep coming back to looking at the screen. My suggestions are, particularly for the regular students, is to actually work a lot more on listening and following the cues. I'll do my best to be clear, rather than keep thinking, I'll just go and check and see if I'm doing it right. Most of you, as long as you are doing something that feels comfortable and supportive, you're doing the right thing. I'll send you a recording and you can have a look at things there to clarify it. So that's my suggestion. If we're lying on the floor and you can't see me, we listen much more to the instructions verbally rather than looking at the screen. So for this class, you'll need your mat if you've got a mat. I've gone for a double mat this time, so don't worry, you don't need to do that. And I've got a couple of blankets, so you could use blankets or towels. I don't think we need any other equipment, but that might be helpful for under the knees or for under the head for support with some of the movements and some of the lying down. So today we're actually going to start lying down. So if you can get yourself down there and find a comfortable position, and that's either with the legs extended out in front of you or with feet on the floor and the knees bent, you choose. And while you're finding a happy place, just to remind you again, if you're not comfortable under the head, then have a blanket, a cushion, or a towel or something underneath your head. So the idea with this is so your neck feels comfortable. It's not like a pillow that you'd have in bed for extra comfort particularly. It's just to make sure you feel that you haven't got any pain in your neck or your back of your shoulders. So just finding some comfort. So what we're going to do today, or what I'm going to do today, is read a poem as you start to settle down into your supported lying. So lying down on the floor is comfortable for most people. If you really feel that's not what you want to do instantly, of course you can sit down on the chair, but we will be doing movements lying down after the poem. Okay, so the classes at the moment are all looking at how we can calm the mind and the nervous system to come back to a rest and digest part of our nervous system, rather than being on full alert and anxious or panicky fight and flight. So part of the lying down is having a large part of the body having a contact with the ground. So just trying to get in away from the mind for a moment and into the quietness of the body, quietness of the breathing body as it lies on the ground, and giving your weight to the ground. So sometimes we kind of hold ourselves up. So allowing things to soften, back of the head, shoulders, anywhere the back is touching the ground, back of the pelvis, anywhere the legs are extended onto the floor, and back of the heels. So if you need to just do a little movement to kind of arrive and really feel that you've got that connection with the earth, then just have a little bit of a movement to relax yourself in. So part of being calm is kind of coming back into a peaceful place in ourselves and reminding ourselves that we kind of have that state all the time, but it gets completely covered up a lot of the time because of just our daily activities and our concerns and our emotions. So this poem is by Derek Walcott, and it's called Love After Love. So settle in to the ground, breathe, and just take in the words by Derek. Love after love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you've ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Once more, love after love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you have ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. So steady yourself. Find your center. Find your belly. Find breath in the belly. Find the breath in the heart space in the chest. Feel the movement of the chest as you breathe. Finding the breath now in the whole of the torso. So from deep down in the pelvis to high up in the chest, in the front of the torso, the sides of the torso, and the back of the torso. Finding softness, finding support, finding the freedom in the breath. No force, no rushing. Just experiencing. And now get a sense of the whole body lying on the floor. And with that sense of the whole body lying on the floor, then move really gently. And the movement is to bend the knees one by one and bring the feet to the floor. So doing that in your own time, and gathering yourself in this new position. So if your legs are extended, then into this new position of constructive rest. Feel the feet on the floor, feel the pelvis on the floor. And when you're ready, pick one knee up and bring it towards the chest, just one knee and bring it towards the chest. Take the hands either around the shin or around the back of the thigh. Just rest the hands so there's a greater connection between the hands and the leg. So when you're ready, allow the knee to move away from the body so the arms can straighten maybe a little bit more, and then bring the knee closer in towards the chest. So really finding a way to smoothly move the knee away from the body and then back towards the belly and the chest. And noticing how this really is initiated by the movement in the pelvis, by the rocking of the pelvis forward and back, which means that you create a slight arch in the lower back as the leg goes away from you, and you have your lower back having a gentle sort of kiss to the floor, touching the floor, the earth, as you bring the knee forward. So finding that connection with the pelvis in movement, the changes in the lower back, the connection between the hand and the leg, and the smooth movement, as smooth as you can find. So it doesn't have to be a big movement, but you're looking for a nice, gentle, supportive rocking on the pelvis, if you like. So see if this makes sense and that you can work with this. So as you take the leg away, start to create some resistance as if the hands are pushing into the knee to slightly prevent the knee going too far. So it's still moving, but there's that resistance all the way through that movement. And then as the knee comes back, just relax that pressure. So as the knee goes away, there's some resistance to the hands into the leg and the leg into the hand. And that might feel a kind of stronger movement, a little bit more tension in the lower back, and then relax that movement and really soften through the movement in the lower back. So for some of you who are more familiar with the breathing, what we tend to do is as the knee goes away, tends to be a breath in. And as the knee comes back towards you, there tends to be a breath out. But you find your own kind of connection between the movement and the breath. So no forcing of the breath, just see what happens, what comes. And for some people, just the rocking to a particular rhythm is what's going to lead them and feel kind of supportive and calming. So 2 more movements on this first side, and then allowing the knee as it goes away to return to the floor. So taking the hands away and just letting the foot arrive on the floor. So before you go on to the second side, then allow both legs to reach out in front of you, so you can just get a sense of how the legs feel after that movement. So get a sense of the feeling in the leg that you were working on, how you moving the knee forward and back, and how that feels in terms of its your awareness of it, the connection between the floor, the length, the energy in the leg, compared to the opposite leg. See how open you are on the hips on both legs, any differences, any changes. And then bring both feet back towards the floor, knees bent, and go to your second side. So gently bringing the knee in towards the chest, take the hands onto the shin or onto the back of the thigh, wherever it's more comfortable. And then just relax the arms. And as you allow the knee to drift away from you, maybe on the in-breath, then you return after that to bring the knee in towards you on the out breath, if that's comfortable. Get into the breath if that helps you. If not, find a rhythm and a movement that feels like it's smooth, freeing, gentle, supportive. As you lower the back on the out breath and create a mini arch on the in breath as the knee goes away. Rocking on the pelvis, finding as smooth as possible movement, trying to iron out any jerkiness as you bring the knee forward and away. See how that feels in the hands. Try not to tense too much in the hands if possible. Relax the jaw, the eyes, back of the throat if possible. The neck feels uncomfortable, then just take a break and just find something to support the back of the head. And finding your own rhythm. So rhythms are important to bodies. The way we walk, the way we move has a rhythm. So the smoother we can create that rhythm, the lighter, the less effort, the less energy we use. So that's partly what we're kind of relearning through these very simple movements. So on the next in-breath, let the knee drift away and back down to the floor as you release the hands away. Allow both legs then to extend away, and again have a track back to how things are going in the legs, how you feel the legs, what the energy is, how the connection is between the floor, and how the connection is between the legs and the feet and the legs and the center of the body. And how the breathing is after that movement. Okay, so soaking that in, taking that in, any pleasant feelings, really savor and really take in the good. Okay, so we're going to go into a simple bridge pose, but we will be taking the arms overhead. So find a position that you know you can take your arms overhead. So I'm going to slightly move down my mat so that I've got more space to take my arms over my head. Okay. So finding a comfortable position for the feet and the knees, not too far away with the heels away from the bottom, but not too close either. So they should feel comfortable but supportive for the body. So a little bit of tone into the inner legs and the outer legs. The arms can lay just by the side of your body with the palms facing down. So we're going to take an in-breath to take the bottom off the floor and come into a diagonal between the knees and the shoulders, and then we'll come down on an out-breath, initially keeping our arms by the side of the body. So on your next in-breath, pushing through your feet, take your bottom and hips off the floor, lower back, middle back, and come broadly to your shoulders. So the weight changes on your arms, on your shoulders, and on the back of your head. More weight will go through your feet, and on the out breath, just peel yourself back down. And just following through with this movement. So in breath, picking up the bottom and the rest of the back section by section. And on the out breath, allowing the body to descend, peel back gently to the floor. So maybe 2 more times like this, in breath, bottom off the floor, back off the floor. And out breath, just returning the body back towards the floor. So finding your own rhythm, your own timing, your own breath support. So when your neck's down, then just take a pause for the moment. Let the body really connect back to the ground. And then next time, as you take the in-breath and take the bottom off the floor, also take the arms overhead as long as that's comfortable for the arms. Let the arms arrive on the floor if possible, with the bottom off the floor and the back off the floor. And then on the out-breath, returning the arms to the floor as you take the back all the way down to rejoin its contact with the ground. So in breath, arms sweep over, bottom and back comes up into bridge, as long as that's comfortable. And on the out breath, the arms come sweeping again back by the body. Take a pause in the breath, pause in the movement if you can, before gently starting the in-breath off, taking the arms over, up into bridge, arms over if you can. Take a moment's pause before coming back down to the out breath. So 3 more movements in your own time here. No rushing, find the easy, smoothest route over. And enjoy the movement of the body. So when you finish those 3 movements, no rush, then Rest with the arms slightly away from the body. If it's more comfortable to have the hands on the belly, then you can take the hands to the belly. So when you're ready, just taking that slightly different positioning for the arms, slightly away from the body now. For me, my palms are up, but that's more comfortable for me. You just find a comfortable position for the hands, the arms, so the shoulders can relax. And just taking any feeling in the body, any more awakening around the chest as you did those movements, any more sense of breath in the body. Okay, so from here, with our knees bent and our feet on the floor, we're just going to allow the knees to drift over to the right, just about a foot over. So we take our weight to one side of the hip and one side of the pelvis, drift back into center, and then take the knees both slightly over to the left, just maybe a foot away from the center, and drift back. So 3 more times, taking the knees slightly over to the right. Again, you're just rocking from side to side, back to center, over to the left. And continue that movement in your own time for 1 or 2 more tracks to either side. And, excuse me, at some point you'll arrive back into that neutral place, back into center. Again, feeling the feet on the ground, the pelvis on the ground, anywhere the back and the arms are touching the ground and the back of the head. So this time we're going to do the same movement, but we're going to take the feet off the floor. So lifting the feet off the floor, and knees point towards the ceiling. For most of us, it feels like there's more weight now going through the pelvis, and maybe the belly feels like it's got a little bit more tone to it. So as long as you're comfortable, then keep this position and start to move the knees again over to the right, just a wee way. So just a foot or so over to one side, come back into neutral, the knees pointed towards the ceiling, towards the sky, and then return back to neutral. So if this is uncomfortable, just go back to the previous movement with the hands, feet down. Otherwise, go through this for another 3 moves from right to center to left and back. Again, find the rhythm. See if you can still find the breath. So there'll be tone in the belly, so it will be a different sense of the breath. Might need to take the breath a little bit more into the chest to feel the support. So when you've done around 3 of those movements side to side, come back to center, bring the feet to the floor, and then take the legs out long so you can relax the legs now. So again, just feeling how the body's meeting the floor. And sense the breath in the center of the body, the whole of the torso, if you can feel the breath in the whole of the body. And start to create a little bit more of a reach into the legs. So have the toes pointing towards the ceiling and reach the heels away. So you have a feeling of the legs becoming alive. And that might feel right into your bottom, into the front of the hips and the pelvis and into the belly as you enliven the legs a little bit, inside leg and outside leg. Keeping both legs active, keeping the lower back down as much as you can through this movement. Lift the right leg slightly off the floor. So keep the belly in slightly to keep the lower back down. So the leg is about a foot off the floor. Hover there for a second and then lower the leg down as slowly as you can. Let the leg arrive back down onto the floor with the support. For a second, relax both legs. Relax the belly. Take a breath into the belly. And when you're ready, You recharge the legs, heels down, toes towards the ceiling, and you go to your opposite side. You keep your lower back down if possible, so take an out breath might help. Lift the leg, left leg off the floor, let it hover for a second, maybe a foot off the floor, and slowly, slowly let the leg return back to the floor. Let it rest, rest the feet, rest the legs, bring the breath back into the belly, soften around the belly, relax once more to the lower back into the floor, and go to the first side again. Activate both legs, toes pointed towards the ceiling, keep the lower back down if you can, out breath will help, belly to spine will help, lift that right leg up, hold it for a second, and then lowering it slowly as you can. It's like feeling the weight of the leg. The leg should feel heavy and weighted down. Return that to the floor. Relax both feet, relax both legs, get the belly soft again for a breath. And when you've done that, we're going to do the second side for the second time. So re-engage the legs, second side, lift the leg, belly down. Hover for a second, and then return slowly as smoothly as you can, that heavy leg back to the floor. And rest again, and relax. So bringing the feet, bending the knees, bringing the feet back towards the floor. We're going to do more soft flowing movements for the moment. Again, feel the weight of the feet on the floor, the weight of the pelvis, anywhere the back's touching the floor, and the back of the head. So the more we feel that weightiness, the more we're coming back to a state of calm. So we're going to have our arms by the side of the body again, like we did with bridge. This time we're going to take just the right arm over our head on the in-breath, and return it on the out breath. And then take the opposite arm over on your in breath and return it on your out breath. Then you'll take both arms over on your in breath and return them on the out breath. So now we're going to alternate right arm and left leg. So take your right arm over and reach your left leg in front of you on the in breath and return it on the out breath. Take the left arm over and the right leg out on the in breath and return on the out breath. This is an option, so you can take both arms and both legs away from you on the in breath, but keep the belly down if you can, and return on the out breath. So we'll just repeat those once more. If you miss anything out you're not happy with, so just relax in center for a moment. On the in breath, sweep the right arm over. On an out breath, return it. And following that through in your own time. So it's going to be the second arm at some point. It's going to be both arms at some point. It's going to be your right arm and your left leg at some point. It's going to be your left arm and your right leg at some point. And then potentially both arms and both legs, if that feels okay for the lower back. Using the belly support. And again, when you've done all those movements, just again extend the legs out. Have a sense of the body on the floor, the weightiness through the body. And any sense of relaxation in the body, so having a sense of the whole body lying on the floor and the whole breathing body lying on the floor. So after the next breath, breath and out breath. Then bringing both feet to the floor again, with the knees bent. So a choice here, we're going into a twist. So you can either leave your feet as they are and take the knees over to one side or the other side. And you can have your arms either where they are by the side of the body or out at shoulder level. And the other option is to cross your legs, so crossing the right leg over the left leg. That's as if you were sitting down, how would you cross your legs? So one thigh's over the other thigh. So this is an option. Again, arms to the side or arms just a little away from the body, whatever's more comfortable. So I've got my right thigh over my left thigh. So if that's the same for you, you're going to bring your right, you're going to use the weight of your right leg and take both legs over to the right. So that's a little bit stronger for some of you. So that feels too strong, gently coming back up and just coming to the softer twist. So just take a moment to just feel that opening down the left side of the body. And on your next in-breath, bring both knees back up into center. Uncross the legs, if the legs are crossed. Cross the legs in the opposite direction, so left over right thigh. Steady yourself for a moment, and on the out breath, just let the knees drift over to the left, if that's comfortable. And get this feeling of sense of lengthening down the right side of the body. And then use the in-breath to come back up. So in your own time, 2 more times each side. So unhook the legs and then take the right leg over, the left, go over to your right side again. Use the in-breath when you're ready to come up. Go over to the left side. And do that for the 3rd time in your own time. When you've done those 3 movements, then I just want you to gently bring your knees into your chest and roll over to your side and gently come over so you can see the screen. So take that really slowly, because you may well feel a little dizzy if you've been down for such a long time. You may not want to move the body very much. So once you're ready, then what you're going to do is you're going to build some support for under your head. So I've got quite a bit of support here with my blankets, but you might have a pillow or a cushion or some towels. This is quite high, I've got quite a long neck, so I find this the most helpful for me. And I'm just going to show you this movement. So I need to be a little bit further over here. So we have done these movements, but not very often. So you might feel you really need to pay attention to this. So I'm sitting with my legs bent 90 degrees. It's almost like I would be sitting, if I was sitting down, this is how I'd have my bottom of my feet, my legs in relationship to each other, 90 degrees this way. So I'm using the edge of my mat to have my shins against to give me that gauge. I'm coming down to my shoulder, hopefully if your shoulder's well enough to manage that. I'm putting one hand on top of the other so that I've got my shoulders stacked on top of the other. So the first movement, so watch all this before you come down. So the first movement is just literally allowing the top arm to move up the arm across the chest. As I do that, I allow my top shoulder and upper back to descend towards the floor. And then I let my arm open out. I'm looking towards the ceiling. I then hinge at the elbow and allow the arm to drift back across the body. And that's the first movement. Yeah, so we'll be doing that a few times. I invite you to do that 6 times. The second movement, if you feel comfortable, is to take the arm in a circle around the body. So soft elbows, I'm just letting my fingers touch the floor. Again, I'm opening at the shoulder and the back, so take care there. as the shoulder comes towards the floor. I've got my elbow very bent. The back of my hand is now touching the floor. You won't see this until it comes up and over my body and back round to the start. So pause the video and find what you need and make a decision if you do both moves or just one of the moves. Okay, so I'm assuming you've paused and you've got what you need. I'm going to, no, I'll stay here. I'll stay on this one side. So starting on side A, so that you can see me, maybe, or just remember, hopefully. So get in a position with your knees and your shins parallel to the floor, to the front of the mat, sorry. Start with one hand on top and gently allow the top arm to drift away and up the arm across the chest, and allow then the elbow to hinge so the palm can, the whole arm can rest on the floor. Hinge at the elbow, hand comes back to shoulder. Allow the hand to softly come back across the chest and return to the hand. So really you're looking here at just continuing this movement in as smooth a way as possible. If the cushion is not right for your neck, stop and either increase it or lower it. Most people don't want as much height as I've got here. So finding a way to use the breath, just keeping it soft, maybe using the in-breath to open out, at least to start with, and out breath to return. You're doing about 6. I might actually have a little bit lower for my head. Okay, so about 6 times. And when you've done that 6 times, just rest again in center with one hand stacked upon the other. And you go to the second movement when you're ready. So the second movement, when you're ready, is tracing the upper hand in a circle around the body. So you allow the fingers to touch the floor, circle above the head, keep the body open so the shoulders head towards the floor, bend the elbow as much as you can, circling around until the hand comes back to the body, comes over the legs and back to find itself where you started. So circling around, if that was comfortable, about half a dozen times, opening the body as you take the journey. If it's not comfortable for the neck or the shoulder, then just do maybe 6 more of the first movements. Finding a rhythm and an opening for the body, sense of breath and space. So you can make this as luxurious as possible. So that's 6 times around. So when you've done this first side, then pause, set yourself up on the opposite side and repeat half a dozen times on the other side. Making sure you're really clear on your setup to start. So the first movement is taking the arm across the body, across the chest, opening up and returning back to the start. In breath might help on the opening up. The out breath might support you on the return journey. But you find what's helpful, not forcing the breath. Just inviting the breath to lengthen, if it will. So sometimes it's different on each side. I find this side more easy today, but sometimes I find the other side more easy. So you finding what you can from, and go at the speed that feels relaxing and supportive, and doing around half a dozen. When you've done about half a dozen of these moves, first move, then go to your second movement, which is the circle. So tracing the fingers over the head, Bending the elbows, letting the shoulder and the upper back return to the floor on the opposite side as you trace the fingers all the way around in a circle over the body and back to the start. So taking that track in as comfortable, smooth route as you can for 6 journeys. Less if 6 is too many. See if it gets easier and smoother or more difficult and more effortful. So if it's starting to become effortful or discomfort or pain, then just stop. Take a break. Either restart or dismiss this movement out. Okay, so once you've done those 6, take away the support underneath the head and return back to lying on your back with the legs extended out. See how the body touches the ground, what contact points again, how weighted, how light the body feels, how the breath is in the body, how the lower back meets the ground, having a sense of the whole body lying on the ground, a sense of the breathing body lying on the ground. So here, taking 3 further breaths in this, finding the support of the ground, and then we are going to be moving, and we're going to be moving into all 4s in a moment or 2. So maybe 1 more breath here, and when you're ready, bringing the knees to the chest and rolling over onto one side. So getting what you need for under your knees. And finding your steadiness in this new position. So feeling the hands on the floor, the knees on the support of the blanket or whatever you need underneath you. See how your arms feel, your inner arms and your outer arms, your inner legs and your outer legs. Try and avoid collapsing in the body so that we sense of the chest uplifting and the belly coming in towards the back. If you reach 1 foot behind you, it's going to come a little further forward so you can see better. If you reach 1 foot behind you, so the legs extended, the toes and the ball of the foot is on the floor. And then you're going to bring your knee towards your head and your head towards your knee. So, and then extend back. So those are the 2 movements. So extension on the in-breath with the foot on the floor, and then bringing the knee towards the head. Don't need to force that. In fact, don't force that if you can avoid it. You're rounding the back. You should bring the knee towards the chest and then you're extending the foot away. And maybe reaching back into the heel so you get a bit more of an extension. Out breath, belly in slightly, rounding the back so the knee travels slightly more towards the head. No force. Reaching back on the in-breath, putting more pressure into the foot. So 3 more of these movements using the breath if it's comfortable. And when you've done your 3 additional on this second side, on this first side, resting for a moment in neutral. If you need to just shake out your wrists, and shake out your wrists, and return into the same movement, but on the second side. So foot lengthening out through the foot and the heel, and then bringing the knee more towards the head as you round the back on the out breath. In breath, toes go back towards the floor, a little bit of pressure on to the feet, and then knee to head. So a total of 6, and maybe another 3 or 4 of these movements. Again, you're looking for ease in the movement. Some people might prefer to go faster, some people or prefer to go really slow. So do what feels the right rhythm for you now. And when you finish those 6, then just centering yourself in neutral. Okay, just going to slightly reposition myself. I think you can see me better from here. So from here, rather than having my shoulders above my wrist, I'm going to take my hands slightly further forward. I'm going to tuck my toes under. And what we're going to do is we're going to be rocking back and forward, but ultimately we're going into downward facing dog. Just for a second and coming back down. So I'll show you for a moment so you can look this way and then you can join me after a few. So I'm rocking back and forth, bottom to heels, and shoulders just come up to the wrist. They don't shoot beyond if possible. So there is some form of stabilising at this point. And I'm reaching back with my pelvis as I go back. So reaching back with my sitting bones, if that makes sense. I'm taking the belly in slightly as I go back. And then after a few movements, as I go back, I'm going to take my knees off the floor and push my bottom up towards the ceiling and come into downward facing dog for a second. Come back to my knees, go back. It's almost like a child pose as I take my bottom to my heels, then I come forward. I go back up into dog. I come down onto my knees. I go back into child's pose. I come forward with my shoulders for a second. I go back into downward facing dog. Keep my knees bent. Knees back to the floor. Bottom back to heels. And shoulders over wrists. So up to 3 more times. Back and up into dog. Forward and down. Back with the bottom, forward with the shoulders, back into downward facing dog, knees back down, bottom towards heels, and arms over shoulders. One last time, if you're still with me, back into downward facing dog, down onto your knees, bottom back towards heels, and shoulders forward. Okay, well done, that's a bit stronger, a bit more energy required for that. Okay, so from here we're going to find our way up to standing. So you can choose to just find your way stand from here, or you can go back into downward facing dog. Watch this before you do it, and just bring your hands back towards your feet, as we often do. Feet back to the ground, take your bottom down slightly, push off with your fingers and lift yourself all the way up. So I'll adjust the camera. Okay. So okay, yeah, hopefully you can see me okay from here. So for these next few movements, hopefully you can get a position for your camera, for your laptop or whatever devices that you can easily see, because we're doing some standing now. So we can do that together. Okay, so we've arrived in standing, so that might feel a little strange after being down for a long period of time. Yeah, been down for 40 minutes or even 45 minutes. So finding our feet and really seeing what sense of contact we have between the feet and the earth. Feeling the weight through the body, maybe the pelvis, maybe the shoulders, also feeling a sense of steadiness and stability. So just allow the arms then to move forward and back a few times. And then maybe hands onto pelvis and just doing a few circles in the pelvis, just to kind of arrive and let the body feel comfortable and safe and supported in standing. Pelvis in the other direction. round in circles, and then back into stillness, arms to the side. So get a sense of the whole body, the whole breathing body. Okay, so in this movement, you're not going to be able to see the top of my arms, but I'm basically going to be reaching them up towards the sky. So I'm going to take an in-breath and lift my arms up. On the out-breath, I'm going to bend my knees once, twice, and lift back up. So I'm coming down, reaching up. As long as that's okay for the knees. If you don't feel like that helps the knees by doing that much bending, then please just take the arms up and down and keep the legs straight or virtually straight. So the idea is here, we take the weight down to the feet and then again, get a rhythm to get ourselves back up. So we're finding that sense of the earth supporting us in the easiest way to get up as you could. Yeah, so if the knees are not good for this, as I say, just do the arms up and down rather than being concerned. So we're looking for a rhythm here, because partly we're trying to get a little bit more energy in the whole of the body. The joints a little bit hydrated, and any kind of internal energy that we can create, release, allow. So sometimes the body just gets a little bit groggy and sticky, so we're trying to unstick. So a couple more times if you find it, you can comfortably do that. And then just letting the arms come softly down by the side of the body. See how the shoulders feel. Get a sense of the energy in the body. If you need to feel you want to relax a little bit more, then you can just do either a sigh breath or blowing out through the lips on the out breath. Okay, so we're going to be moving into warrior, but we're doing more flow-like movements than we do sometimes. So taking the feet to a happy distance apart, yeah, so that's going to be different for all of us. But you know broadly what your warrior 2 is, yeah, your warrior pose is. So getting into it slightly differently. So if you turn your toes in, both feet, and you leave your left leg where it is and concentrate on your right leg. So you're going to hinge on your heel. So we're hinging to take it out 90 degrees, and then we're bringing it back. And then we're hinging again to take it out. So if you take your hand to the top of the thigh, so what you want is your whole leg to be rotating this way, and then externally rotating this way. Don't worry about your back leg. Everything should just come with you, but you don't need to think too much about that. Just concentrate on this first leg. So next time you arrive, bending, if you haven't already, bending that front knee. Feeling how it feels through both your back leg and your front leg. So you're looking for both legs to feel kind of rooted and supported. The warrior is kind of a strong pose to some extent. We're doing more of a flowing warrior today, but you want to feel both legs if you can. Okay, so we're going to do the same movement that we did when we were standing. So we're going to sweep the arms up, and actually you can extend through the front leg there. And on the out breath, we come down to come up. 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 So again, if that kind of double bounce doesn't kind of suit you, then just do an up and a down. Yeah. Some people that's makes much more sense to the body, just going up and coming down. But if you've got the double bounce and that feels fine for the knee, then do the double bounce, the down, the down. So you're kind of going down, pushing off to come up, using that front foot as a bit of a strengthener of that front leg. So a couple more times, either the double bounce or the one bounce. Double bounce, the one bounce. And then just for a moment, leaving your arms in at shoulder level, looking over your front hand. That'd be your right hand. Soften the shoulders, soften the gaze, and have a sense of feeling strong if you can for a moment, feet on the ground. Almost like you're regaining some strength, thinking about focusing on your core, focusing on the center of your body. Just see if you can kind of create that sense of strength for a moment. And then release the arms down, bring the feet face forward, toes back, facing each other for a second, and then you're going to take your left leg and pivot round, maybe 3 or 4 times, going from the original position to take the whole leg to pivot out. Original position to get the whole leg to pivot out. So at some point, you'll be back into your warrior on the second side. If you feel like you've traveled too far forward, then heel toe to get yourself back into a happy position. Feel both feet grounded and extend your arms up on the in-breath, out-breath, either a double bounce or a single bounce. If it's strength for the knee, then definitely do a single bounce or none at all. So maybe another 3 of these movements on the second side. Just try and get some energy flowing into this warrior. Okay. And again, for a moment, just settling into your warrior 2. Feeling the strength from the deep down in the belly. So just bringing a little bit more support in that area. Feeling strong and courageous in your moment. And then arms down, feet to face me. Heel toe yourself back to happy position to get the full support. Again, have a sense of the whole of the body and the whole of the breathing body. Feel the inside of the legs and the outside of the legs for a moment. Feel the feet on the ground again. Okay. So we'll try a balance. It's going to be a bit of a dancing balance today. So it's tree pose, which you're all familiar with. So choose your strong leg. Feel that really connecting for the feet, for the foot on the floor and the leg, almost like a sense of pushing the foot into imaginary soft sand. And just see if you can, for a second, take the sole of the foot to the calf. And then just let it go away and come back. So don't take the foot too far away, otherwise you're going to zoom yourself over to the other side of the room. So a little bit of a dance. If you feel like you can do that in prayer position, then go in prayer position. If you prefer to be a bit more of a country dancer, then you can have your hands on your pelvis. So again, as long as it's okay for the knee. And back to being still. Relax the body. Feel both feet on the floor. And when you're ready, go into your second side. So foot, sole of the foot into the side calf. Find your position, hands on pelvis or prayer position, and then gently push away and back. Away and back. Away and back. Yeah, so finding a happy rhythm. And again, settle back in neutral. So to finish, we are going to just do a calming movement. So again, just have a sense of the whole body here, the whole breathing body. Hands into center if they're not there already. So hands around the chest, fingertips touching. On an in-breath, pushing the hands away. On an out-breath, sweeping the arms to the side. On an in-breath, arms come overhead to fingers to touch. And on the out breath, you return to center. Sense of pushing away with the hands, a sense of creating space for yourself with your arms out to the side, a sense of gathering in, maybe looking up if it's comfortable, and a sense of bringing in calm or peace or nourishment or well-being. So 3 more in silence. Love after love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you have ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Thank you for joining me.